Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Crunch. My name is Ethan. Peter, do you want to say hi? Can you say something? No words. That's okay. If you're watching on YouTube, here's my son, Peter. If you're listening on the podcast, Peter's with me, and you might hear him smack the microphone here in just a second. But I wanted to hop on before the episode, just let you know you're in for a great treat. It's a great episode. Patrick and I answer a ton of dating questions. I think we talk about cohabitation before marriage and how to stop doing the sin that you can't stop yourself from doing and how to deal with kind of the emotional ramifications of that. We talk about if someone in your family is marrying a Jewish guy, what to do about that. And I think there's a few other questions of like, how do you get a third date after you have a second date, or how do you get a second date after a first date? Just there's some good content in there that you're going to want to enjoy. So welcome to the Dating Corner. Hope you stick around. One thing that I do have to let you know is that around 15 minutes into the episode, my audio, for whatever reason, through this microphone, stops working. So you have my phone audio and Patrick's real microphone audio. So it kind of sucks. I'm sorry, but I'd rather put this episode out so you guys can listen to it rather than not upload anything at all. Or, as the good people on Instagram at the Crunchcast said, that I should re-record the whole episode by myself. I have not had time to do that this week. So we're just going to post it, and I hope you forgive us. And if you want to continue to support the podcast, one of the best things that you can do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That really lets the algorithm know that more people are listening, more people are liking it, more people want to see it, suggest it on their feeds. Go on to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, or on Spotify if you listen on Spotify. That would really, really help us out if you followed and left a review. So without further ado, let's get into Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner.
I got two. I was at a BNI meeting today, and I was like, dude, I got 2 theology degrees. I can't do anything. I got them for free. So, like, I'm not in debt, but, like, I did only get 2 theology degrees. So it's not like I'm going to be building any submersibles anytime soon, or maybe I am. Apparently that's the threshold now.
You never know.
2 submersible episodes in 1 week.
No, we're not doing it.
That's the content that people want.
I don't think anybody wants more submersibles.
Oh, do you think if we do that, our podcast is going to go under?
I'm going to do the rest of the podcast like this. And
you got a haircut.
Anything that Patrick says.
You got a haircut.
And I think it's better this way.
I didn't even notice.
Because now I don't have to hear him say stuff like that ever again.
He took off his headphones. You can't. I didn't notice you got a haircut until you took your headphones off.
Oh, thanks. My wife didn't notice.
No, I didn't say I liked it.
Oh.
I know it hurts. I'm sorry. This is not your point. All right, you came to the right place, you ding dong. It's called communication, baby.
Welcome to Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, the only clinic that helps you get what you really need. Not a kidney transplant, not plantar's wart removals. A wife. I'm your host, Nurse Patrick.
And I am Dr. Ethan. Can I tell you about my last experience with a doctor? Like a real doctor? Which I am. I was in the eye doctor. So I went to the...
I thought you were about to say ICU.
No. I went to the optometrist because I've been wearing my contacts for like 2 months. And I switched insurance and I need a new prescription to get new contacts. You're only supposed to wear them for 2 weeks. Anyway, I might have macular degeneration. It's not a big deal. I don't have that. It just my eyes are itchy now. So
you're not going blind?
No, I'm not going blind. I don't know what that is. I just saw it on a form that I had to fill out very close to my face because they made me take out my contacts before they gave me the form, and then they wouldn't let me put them back in. So I had to. It was
That's
insane.
Great.
But everybody was so curt at the eye doctor. And this guy came in. I always feel weird about addressing eye doctors as doctors, not because I don't think that they're real doctors, but like they never like touch you, like like when you go in, for people who don't have eye problems don't know about this, but you sit in the eye doctor and then they just kind of like shine lights in your eyes and they make you read. And then they say, and then they put funny glasses on you. And then you just have to tell them what looks good and what doesn't look good. And then they say,
you have 2 seconds too. They don't even give you much time.
Yeah. 1 or 2, 2 or 4, about the same. That's what they do over and over again. And then they sign a little form. And they say, "Yep, you're good to check out with the lady." And so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna call you Matthew because I don't think you're Dr. Matt. I don't think that you are like. I'm sure that you can do LASIK surgery, but you don't do it for me. So
anybody who goes by Doctor First Name should not be trusted. Present company excluded.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And God bless.
Psychiatrists do this.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Jordan.
You can call
Peterson.
me. You can call me Dr. Beth. Like, I'm not gonna do that, Beth.
It's weird to take the route into like not using formalities. You know, it's like, oh, we're familiar with each other, we're comfortable, but I need you to call me Doctor First Name. Like, just call me Beth.
The biggest flex that I do in my job is when I call doctor's offices and I know the doctor's name, I just ask for them by their first name, and it just flusters the office manager. They just send me through.
Ooh. Can I
talk
Simon?
to Kevin, please?
Yeah, that's huge.
You mean Dr. Biles?
No.
This is Dr. Simon Biles.
Simon Biles, Simone Biles' dad. Just randomly a doctor in Florida. Yeah. Anyway, I don't like going to the doctor. I don't like going to appointments. I don't like filling out forms.
They make you fill out a form.
A lot of forms, and then they're like trying
look,
to pressure me.
Instagram probably knows.
They're trying to pressure to get my eyes dilated. They're like, we need to measure the back of your eye. I said, no, you don't. Like, you don't. There's nothing back there worth seeing, literally, because if there was, we'd be able to see back there. So you don't.
You'd be able to yeah.
It was.
If we needed to see back there, you'd be able to just the eye right out and look back there. You know,
like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Where they pop the guy's eye out.
It was a mess.
Let's take a look back there. Put the balloon.
That's what we do with the eye of a sailor.
We do with the drunkens. Okay. We pop his little eye out.
Now that we've convinced everyone that we know what the hell we're talking about, I think we should do some dating questions. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea, Dr. Ethan.
So we got some from Instagram, but we also have some leftovers from our extravaganza a couple weeks ago. So
some reheated leftovers. Let's do the Instagram ones first because they're the most poignant.
Yeah. I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to share them with you, but Ryan, when you put them on the screen, make sure you hide their identities because we wouldn't want anyone to sue us. Okay. Let's see. These might be pretty quick. I love this. How have you each adjusted to date nights with new babies?
That's a great question. There's none.
Yeah, we just don't have them.
We just don't have them. Come on. Yeah.
I'm sure there are people out there that are able to find the time or the support to have date nights every week with young children. And I know it's possible. And some people say like you have to do it. You don't have to do it. Like we spend enough time together. It is more stressful to my wife to like leave the baby and go somewhere than it is to just spend time together at the house after the baby goes down because we don't do bottles. And so it's really impossible to like leave for longer than an hour and a half or 2 hours anyway. So
Leo might do a bottle now. He does a sippy cup now.
Ooh.
We have a full on toddler. So he's
right. You can start feeding him Coca-Cola at this point.
He's fine. Just dip his teeth in it, you know?
Yes. Soak
his teeth in Coca-Cola. He'll lose them faster, which is good.
I think it's.
You ever seen an X-ray of a kid's skull? It's crazy.
I haven't. I don't go to those websites.
They got all the teeth.
Yeah, they're just up in there.
They're both sets, just ready to go. It's wild.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have a date night every week or even every month. No. I think every couple is different, and some couples need or want to make time for that.
I would like that.
I would like that too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But also, like when we go out for dates, we spend more money. And I don't know. I kind of like just watching Ted Lasso with my wife on the couch, and she also enjoys that. So just kind of do what makes sense for you. Don't try to do anything that people on Instagram tell you to do, except for us because we're right. So that one was a short one. It's pretty easy. Let's see. This one might be a bit more complicated. Should you pursue a relationship when you haven't, quote unquote, made it? Example, financial stability.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one, Patrick?
It's difficult because like there's two sides of it, right? Where it's like
two sides of the
if
coin.
If you're a single man,
Money.
You are going to feel like you have made it before you have, if that makes sense.
That does not make sense.
It's easier to feel financially secure when you're just a guy who has to care for himself.
Right. And you can just kind of eat trash and like not buy curtains,
Yeah.
You know what? You know how expensive curtains are?
Dude, they're
also, do you know how many windows there are in a new house that require curtains?
They're crazy.
There's a lot.
Just remember, baby's bedroom first, your bedroom second. Okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, our bedroom is the baby's bedroom right now, so it's a twofer.
Oh, that's helpful. Yeah.
It's a twofer.
But yeah, it's difficult to say because, like, I mean, and the other side of it is I know that I would not have been motivated to shoot for the amount of money that I'm making right now without being married and having a baby. Like, I don't think I had enough when I was single. I don't think I had enough of that Sigma grind set in my head to make enough money. I just did the things that were fun, Yeah. I did youth ministry and I did talks for way too cheap and I did a podcast and I didn't really care if we made money off Patreon because, it was all gravy, It was like I was living in a rectory for $200 a month. Before that, I was living in a house for $400 a month. It was like there was really no motivator because I was comfortable. More people are motivated by pain and fear of loss than by gain. And so, like, if you told me, hey, if you work like 60-hour weeks, or 80-hour weeks, you could make $1 million. I'd probably be like, I don't want that. So whatever. But now I'm be like, man, I kind of wish I had. So like, regardless, you're going to feel like, all right, let me put it like this. It's likely that you're going to feel like I could have done more when I was single once you have a wife and a child. So like, if you find a woman that you like, don't keep her waiting. Like her, settle down and get married, and then it'll work out because God doesn't wants you to be happy and safe and secure, So yeah, pursue a relationship when you haven't made it. Absolutely. Pursue marriage when you haven't made it. Different question, but still probably if it's in front of you. I don't see why.
Yeah. I don't know. Think about the Holy Family. Pursued by the authorities. Poor, giving birth in shacks.
Just singular shack. They gave one birth in one shack.
just one birth in one shack. There was not multiple shacks involved. Fleeing to Egypt.
Or multiple births. Take that, prots.
Fleeing to Egypt, trying to find work. Like, it worked out for Jesus. I'm not saying that you should use that as your model of like, oh, I'm going to do this. This is the way to go. Because obviously you like need money for stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's one thing if you don't know what your vocation is. If you're dating someone and you're not sure if you're going to marry them or not, then don't worry about it. But if you know that you're going to marry someone, there are like very few financial situations to me that warrant procrastinating your vocation, because the vocation is what's going to make you holy, and God is going to provide for you to be holy. Like, he's not going to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So prudence always in everything, but I think most people lean on the side of, oh, I need to wait longer and I need to save up more, when in reality, they're just kind of putting it off because it's easier to be single. Or not single, it's easier to be dating than it is to be married. So, yeah, I don't know. Just get married if you're dating someone. Like, pursue a relationship. This isn't even a relationship. We're not even talking about marriage. The question was, should you pursue a relationship? Yes.
Like, oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter how much money you have when you're dating someone.
You can date someone when you're living at your parents' house.
It's
no one cares.
People don't know this, but if you think about it, it's free to be in a relationship. Because all you have to do is say, will you be in a relationship with me? And then they say yes. And then
do you want to form an alliance with me?
Right. There's actually no money exchange. Like, you don't have to go out on dates at restaurants or like buy movie tickets or like you don't have to do any of that
Jewelry
stuff.
or
Right.
yeah.
It's actually free, and people don't know that. So maybe if the woman has expectations of you spending money on her,
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, just communicate. Just say, hey, I'm working this job right now. This is how much I'm making. I still would like to be in a relationship with you, but it's going to look like this instead of like this.
Oh,
is that okay with
Another
you?
good piece of advice that I received recently was that it's impossible to make it in your 20s. If you have a job where you think, I'm going to be making this income forever. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Don't try to get a six-figure job when you're 20, because if you're making six figures, that means you're making someone else six figures plus, you know? So, like, you don't have any skills that can make people six figures plus yet. So, like, get a job that is going to teach you how to make those dollar amounts later. Does that make sense?
If anybody would like to pay me six figures for not having any skills, you can email me at Ethan@thecrunch.
Like, it's, you know, it's
I don't know anything, man.
I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna study tech and I'm gonna get a crazy job in software out of college. That's possible, but for the large majority of people, you don't yet have the career capital, like the job market value to exchange your skills for six figures. And in the next 10 years, you're gonna need six figures to raise a family. So probably work your way up.
Yeah. You want to keep
You're gonna be
crushing
more motivated. Yeah.
You want to keep crushing these Instagram questions? I think they're kind of nice. They're like bite-sized, you know? I kind of like
Sure,
them.
yeah. That question just hit home more for me because I'm in
Sure.
the midst of a career change, trying to
Right.
provide for my family, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. I understand. I think that's okay. I, too, am in the midst of a career change, but it's a salaried position, and so I'm not as stressed about it as you are.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get there. How about this? I'm converting to Catholicism, and my fiance and I live together. How to stop doing the sin? It's so bad.
Move out. Right? Just move. Hold on. Move out.
Hold on. Let's check the tape real quick. Yeah, it says here move out.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm just looking at the I'm looking at the tape, and all the evidence points to don't live together.
How do I stop? Look, listen. I don't know if you understand this, but the fact that you and your fiance sexually desire each other is makes sense because you have said you want to get married.
Some would say it's even a good thing.
I would say either move out or get married sooner.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, you love each other. Duh.
Right.
You know, obviously it's going to happen. Also, stop thinking about it so much because you're like, we really got to stop doing that. Now you're thinking about doing that, so now you want to do that. You know, it's just
Yeah.
you're in the hardest part, as Ethan likes to say. You're in the hardest spot because you have the most amount of commitment and the least amount of grace.
Yeah. I also think maybe just change your mindset. How do I stop doing that sin? It's so bad. If you've convinced yourself that you're just mired in the worst sin possible, then it's going to be almost impossible to get yourself out of there because you've already convinced like you're telling yourself the narrative every single day. Oh, I keep falling into the worst sin that I could be doing. I keep doing the terrible sin that is awful. And you're so focused on that one thing of fornicating, which is bad and you shouldn't do it. But it's probably hindering your ability to think clearly about your life and your other situations because you've convinced yourself that you're just doing this bad thing over and over and over again. And in reality, you need to go to God and you need to ask for mercy. But then you just need to be like grateful that you are where you are. It's like, okay, I'm here and I love my fiance and I'm grateful for that. You know, like you got to find something to be like, to have gratitude for because otherwise you're just going to be in this like really weird spiritual place where everything about your engagement, everything about your marriage is going to be in light of this bad thing.
Yeah,
when
this
in reality,
mindset of like,
it should be in light of like gratitude and grace and all of that stuff. So it
it's
happens.
gonna be hard for you guys.
Can I just say, you're not the first person that this has happened to. This is not you're not scandalizing anybody by saying like, oh, I'm having sex with my fiance before marriage. Okay, get in line. Like, everybody has done this, you know?
Stop hanging out at night.
Right. Like, there are things
Stop
that you...
drinking together. There's things you can do that are
There's things
simple.
that you know that you can do that will avert this. First and foremost, stop living together. But I don't know. It's just kind of up to you. Like, is it important enough to stop to you? I think just be honest with yourself. If it's not important enough to stop, then just acknowledge that. You probably don't, if you're writing into a Catholic comedy podcast, you probably don't want to keep doing it. So,
yeah.
But you need to tell yourself, like, this is important enough to me to sacrifice for. And then that's like an opportunity for gratitude. It's like, I'm grateful that God has given me the desire to not want to do this. So it's just like, you got to start shifting your mental state instead of just being, I'm so bad, I'm such a sinner, I'm so bad, I'm such a sinner, to like, thank you, God, for giving me enough to at least not want to do this. And then if you're coming from that place, it's so much easier to make progress than coming from, we're the worst.
Marriage, as the Bible says, is a remedy for concupiscence. Marriage is a sacrament that heals you. And just what you're doing is you're racking up a ton of woundedness that you're going to have to work through as a couple. Of the hurdle that you're going to have to get over is, oh, now you see your fiance's body as a place of evil and sin. And so you should like make sure you stop doing that so that you guys have, it's not about like, oh no, I keep doing this sin and God is going to punish me. This is just bad for me.
Right.
It's like
this
eating.
is not what
like
God wants
eating,
for me. It's
yeah,
not
it's like eating too much batteries. It's like eating too many batteries.
God's not looking at you and being like, oh, I can't. What are they doing? I can't believe this. It's like, God,
in all my years of God, I can't believe.
In all my years of God is so funny. Oh, I've never seen this before. Like, you're not coming up with any new moves. You're not coming up with any new... There's no new content here for God.
Yeah.
So he's not...
God's seen it all.
He's seen it all. So he's not looking at you with disgust or, like, with wrath. He's looking at you and saying, hey, that's not what I want for you. I love you. And, like, you know that. So respond to that instead of responding to this image of God that you have in your head, which is probably the voice of your dad saying, I can't believe you're doing this. Yeah. So, like, get rid of that voice, because that's not actually God's voice. And listen to God's voice, which is saying, I love you. I want the best for you. That's what God is saying. So,
move in with a friend for a hot minute. No one, it's not gonna break your relationship.
Before me and Emma got married, she slept on the floor of a closet.
Nice.
Yeah, because it was like 2 weeks out before the wedding. I went up to a random woman in my parish and said, after daily mass, and said, hey, I'm 2 weeks out from getting married. My fiance is sleeping on the floor of a closet. I need her to move into the house that I'm living in now so that she's no longer sleeping on the floor of a closet. Can I move in with you? And she said yes. So find an old woman
that's awesome
that you can move in with and just ask them. They love that stuff. They're all about it.
It's hunky-dory.
It is hunky-dory. She'll help you. She'll give you a HelloFresh meal every week to eat if you want. At least that's what happened to me. Man, that's good.
Recording, baby.
We are still, of course we're still recording. What's wrong? Why'd you say that?
I'm just checking the camera.
Oh, okay. Let's see. This is a classic. How the heck do you find devout Catholics in real life?
Go to mass.
Yeah, where are the places that devout Catholics hang out?
Catholic Match, this podcast, Discord.
Bit.ly/French
Discord. Go to move into the town next to a Catholic college. So move to Atchison, Kansas, or Steubenville, Ohio. Particularly if you're a woman. A bunch of Catholic men are moving to Steubenville, and very few Catholic women are. So if you're a Catholic woman looking for a Catholic man who might have some strange ideas about liberalism, go to Steubenville, Ohio, because that's where they're all moving.
I didn't know what you were going to say at the end of that. I really thought you were going to say who might have some strange ideas about the Jews, but I'm glad that you did not say that, because I don't think that's true. That's a mischaracterization of these men.
It's not completely true.
It's not completely not true.
Mark Barnes wrote an editorial, like an editor's letter at the beginning of one of the New Polity articles, where he said, Yeah, thanks to all the responses from our podcast. Now that our podcast is out, everybody's moving to Steubenville, Ohio. Except only men are. So if you know any good Catholic women, and then he
Yeah.
called out one of the girls who works at New Polity, Maria, who's becoming a nun, and she's like, "There's no Catholic women here except for Maria Brandel, who is no help at all."
That is funny.
And then Maria wrote an article called "On Being Useless" about women religious, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever read.
Yeah, I think you got to go to places where devout Catholics are, and that's. I mean, if you don't know where they are, they're in your parishes, they're in young adult groups, they're involved in, things like missionary groups, they're involved in ministry, they're involved in, they're typically not easy to find, and not because they're hiding, it's just because there's not that many of them. And so I think an easy thing to do is search on Facebook. Usually there's like a Facebook group, like the name of your city Catholic young adult group. And then probably what you need to do, if that doesn't work, is go to whoever your like youth and young adult coordinator is in your diocese and just say hi.
Diocese, not parish.
In your diocese, not your parish.
Diocese guy knows everybody.
Diocese guy knows everybody. Say, hey, I'm this kind of person and I'm looking for these kinds of people. Where should I go? 99 times out of 100.
Go St. Barbara's or something.
99 times out of 100, the person who works as your youth and young adult coordinator will know exactly where to send you. So if you're really just struggling, you can't find anybody, he might try to recruit you for his volunteer group. Don't let him.
Resist it.
Resist
That's
that.
not going to help.
That's not going to help you. That will help him, but not you. So I'm nothing against diocesan employees, but y'all are just thirsty for volunteers. Nobody has time.
Look, your job is to answer emails, all right? Accept it. You're not in the field anymore. You've retired. You're pushing pencils. It's fine.
So
Climb the ladder, baby.
that's what I would say.
Get that 6-figure salary.
Nobody's making 6 figures working at a diocese except the
Incorrect. That is get the 5 HR directors.
Man, I have some questions about your diocese if you have 5 HR directors.
5 HR directors, and not a single one of them can find a director of youth ministry for the diocese. Not a single one of them.
Really makes you wonder. Last 2 questions here from the gram. They should be pretty quick. Let's say the first date goes well. How did you / how should you ask the girl out for a second one?
Text message. Just kidding. Just call her.
Snapchat.
Call
Yeah,
her.
just call her.
I had a great time.
Hey, I really enjoyed spending time with you on our first date. Would you like to go on another one? I always do this at the end of the first date if it went well. I don't do this now, obviously, because I'm married. But I will.
I say this to my wife. Hey, I really enjoyed our first date.
432nd date that we went on. At the end of the date, you say, "Hey,
At the 500th, I get it.
I really enjoyed spending time with you. Would you be interested in going out again?" And then if she says yes, okay, you've already asked her out, so you just have to make the plan. If she says no, okay, then you know. And then if she says, "Let me think about it," then you say, "Okay, when would be a good time for me to call you?"
Everybody's in sales, baby.
Everyone's in sales. Always be closing, baby.
No, you give her 2 options. Would you like me to call you on Saturday or on Friday?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just call her. You're overthinking it. The last one from Instagram is, you live in Kansas City and she lives in Colorado. So how do you compromise?
No, she doesn't. Oh, this is
I think this is...
move to Colorado, obviously.
Move to
That's
Colorado.
no compromise. Why would you move to Kansas City?
All right.
What's in Kansas City?
Relax.
Sorry.
Melbourne, Florida, looking ass over there.
Are you kidding me?
I am.
U.S. News voted one of the best cities in the country to live in 2023. That's true.
One of the best. Yeah, one of the top 50 cities. Okay.
That's not a lot of cities. I just alienated a ton of our listeners because a ton of our listeners are from Kansas City.
Yeah, exactly. If you think Patrick's wrong about Kansas City, post in our Discord. Anyway.
The Maryland flag.
I don't think we can answer this because we don't have enough information. You have to communicate and say what you want and then listen to what she wants and then decide based on what the two of you want. Someone's going to have to sacrifice. It should probably be you because you're the man. But if it makes more sense...
Whose parents are the craziest?
Whose parents are the craziest? Who has more marketable skills? Because that person should probably move because it'll be easier for them to get a job.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's see. What
Cool.
time? We got time for like some of these longer dating questions. We got through all those on Instagram. If you, I think I'm gonna start asking on Instagram because we get these nice little bite-sized nuggets.
Now that we have actual people following us on Instagram,
Mm-hmm. The only problem is I don't know how to let these people know that we answered their question. I guess I can DM them. Gosh, so much work. Here we go. Patrick, do you want to read this one? I read all the other ones. I want you to read one.
Caught in a Net of Love.
I wrote the title for this one.
I love it. I'm new to the Discord, might be a bit late to the extravaganza. That's okay, so are we.
A little bit late.
But how do we get over constantly thinking about someone?
Ooh.
Obvious answer. I love when they answer the question. Would be to ask them out.
Yeah.
But by the time I decided to do so and got the guts, she went home and then joined NET.
Ooh.
The National Evangelization Team is a group that goes all over the country, and also you are on a dating fast. You can't date. So LOL. Sorry. I guess if it's a bad time, then it's a bad time. But do the feelings go away and I just wait out until the next person comes by? This is my first time discerning a relationship since becoming a practicing Catholic. I fear that this constant thinking about her is unhealthy and is very distracting in my prayer. Well caught in a net of love. Dr. Ethan is here to help.
Yeah. Let's just get one thing straight right now. Okay? Listen to me. If this guy was in front of me, I'd grab him by the lapel right now. And I would pull him close to me. I would whisper in his ear. And then I would start yelling. I would do the thing where you start talking quietly and then you start yelling in someone's ear.
Oh, geez.
And I would say, you're not discerning a relationship. You're not discerning any. There's nothing to discern here.
Huh.
So you liked her. You didn't ask her out. She's going away on mission. She's on a dating fast. She has no idea that you have feelings for her. There's nothing to discern. You had the opportunity to ask her out, and then maybe you'd be in a relationship and you can discern what to do, but you're not in a relationship. There's nothing to discern because you didn't take any action. You're thinking about something that doesn't exist.
Caught in a net of love, welcome to the church. You're experiencing a hurdle that very few Catholic men ever get over.
Yeah.
And it's that you can't discern your way to a relationship.
Right. Like you
can't pray things, Yeah.
I don't mean to harp on you. You're a great guy. I'm proud of you. I love you. Okay, come here close.
He's also new. This is the first time he's done this.
This is your first time. I understand.
So this means the habit's not ingrained. We can save him. Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember when you were not Catholic and you thought a girl was pretty and you asked her out and then like Taylor Marshall or someone told you that was actually bad and you should be courting? They were lying to you. They were trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
They were trying to make $500,000 a year. Listen to me. I'm trying to make $500,000 a year.
I clearly have your best interest at heart.
Just ask her out next time. Next time, if you're still thinking about her, dude, give her a text. Be like, hey, when are you back in town? I'd love to take you out to coffee. Or call her. If she's like, oh, I'm on a dating fast, I can't really. That's okay. I'll wait.
Right.
Like, we can go out after. How long's your dating fast?
Right.
Also, like, it doesn't have to be a date. We can just hang out as friends. Dating fasts also aren't a real thing. I don't care.
Right.
Once you're far past the time of your life where people suggest you go on dating fasts, you realize that's just kind of silly.
Yeah, it just doesn't make much sense. You cannot. There is no.
My female friends who have gone on dating fasts in the past that listen to this podcast, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
They'll be fine. They need to know that what they did was wrong.
I'm excited for the Discord after this drops.
There is no way. There's no way to think yourself into a relationship. And this is a very easy, like people, when you convert to Catholicism, there's so much new information and it's very easy to just think about stuff all the time. And so this is when you get people, they're really into all the devotions and they're really into all the feast days and they're really into all the saints and they're really into all the, it's like, okay, after a certain point that all wears off because you stop like thinking about it all the time because it just becomes your life. You know, like I don't freak out over every feast day, but when there's a solemnity, I have a piece of cake. Okay. and it's not like a big deal, you know, like I don't lose my freaking mind
Nice.
because it's just
Yeah.
like this is what I do, you know, in my life. And
Yeah.
so you are in this place where everything's new and you've got all this grace and you don't know what to do with it. You stop discerning things. There's nothing.
Start to doing.
You have nothing to discern. You're a single guy. You have nothing to discern, truly. Like, this is, and it's not that discernment is bad, but you don't, like, very
It's
clearly,
easier.
you just converted, you don't know what you're doing, so just like just do what is normal for a man of your age to do. Go out on dates with women, go to school, get a job, just like just be a guy, just live, be a guy.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to a point where you have to make a choice between one thing or another, then you can start to discern and you can pray, which is different than thinking. You can pray and ask God for what to do, and you can listen. But right now there's no choice between two options. So you can't discern anything because the option is either you're not dating her or you're not dating her. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah.
When you're single or you're discerning the priesthood, it's really tempting to use your prayer time as a time to worry about the thing that you really want to happen.
Yeah.
Instead of praying, you're just sitting there thinking about it and daydream about how cool it would be. And that's not really discerning. God, it's easier to steer a moving car. So like you got to move towards a thing and God will steer you away from it. He's not going to move you in the complete opposite direction because that would flip the car over. He's going to slowly turn you as you're going. And all of a sudden, you're going to be going in the complete opposite direction. You're going to be like, wow, I didn't think I was going to end up in Pittsburgh. I didn't think I was going to end up in seminary. You know, it's like, but you're going to get there. And then you're going to find you're like, oh my gosh, I'm where I need to be. Like, that's how God moves you. It's little promptings that lead to big changes. So don't, welcome to the church. Welcome to the spiritual life. It's a wild ride, but it's a lot easier than you'd think. It's just pray, confess your sins, and eat God.
Yes.
We'll be okay.
You'll be
Those
fine.
are the things.
Yeah, and this is the key to like stop constantly thinking about her too. If you just like live your life, then you won't think about her as much anymore because you'll be thinking about your job and you'll be thinking about your friends. And
Yeah.
you'll be like right now you have all of your hopes pinned on this one thing of, oh, we would be perfect together because she's a missionary and I'm Catholic and I want to marry someone who's holy. It's not real. So
Yeah,
like until it
it's all in
becomes
your head.
real, you can't pin all your hopes on it.
Yep.
Wonderful. Let's see here. I broke up with my boyfriend 2 months ago. I'm sorry to hear that. We dated for a year, long distance. Nothing really bad happened, but between distance and a few other things, I realized it was best to break up. He didn't take it well, but it was a decision I had and continue to have peace about. Great. I don't want to read the rest of it. It's like, okay, nice. I haven't seen him since, but we'll see him for the first time in August when we will both be at an event for 2 weeks. Do I reach out to him before? Try to break the silence? Wait till we are in person? I'd love to catch up with him if he wants to, but is the ball in his court? What to do? Oof.
He think that if you reach out, is he going to think
That there's a
a
chance.
possibility of getting back together? Because if so, don't. Unless there is. The ball is definitely in your court.
Yeah, oh gosh. I don't think women, this is one example of, the other day I was reading a bottle of wine. It was really funny. And it said, it just made me think of this. It
When you
said-
forget your phone in the bathroom.
Yeah, right. And I just have.
And there's a
use
bottle of wine
shampoo,
in the
there's a
bathroom.
bottle of wine. It's in the back of the bottle of wine. You know, it has like the Surgeon General's warning on it, and it
Yeah.
says, "According to the Surgeon General, comma women." And I just thought that was really funny. That like the Surgeon General just like has something to say about women, and it's on the back of this wine bottle. It's the thing about not drinking during pregnancy, but it's like, what if it said something like women shouldn't be able to vote? Like I was just imagining.
According to the Surgeon
the
General,
Surgeon
that guy's
General's
crazy.
warning is just his own personal political opinions on the back of the wine bottle. Anyway, not important. This is something that I think about women a lot, is that they don't realize the power that they hold. And so this guy, if you broke up with him, he's sad.
He's out. He's down for the count.
He's down for the count. He's in a bad way. If you reach out to him and say, hey, I'm really excited to see you at this event, he will not know how to handle that. He will emotionally...
It's water in the desert. Yeah.
Yeah, he will latch onto you like a hummingbird onto some sweet nectar in a little flower. and he will suck the nectar out of the flower, and then you, the flower, will die. And we don't want that. I think if you tell him that you're excited to see him, or you try to break the silence, or if you even like try to catch up at the actual event in a way that's any deeper than like, hey, how's it going? How's your flight? You know, good to see you. You know, how are things? You know, great. Okay, cool. Like, you don't need to go deep with this person in any way.
Unless you want to date him again.
Unless you want to date him again.
Just do it.
Because if you do this, he will think that you want to date him.
And you got to make it like super clear too. But the ball is super in your court.
Yeah.
Like you got to tell him. Because the other side of it is, if she reaches out, he'll be like, oh my gosh, she might want to get back together. But he also might be one of those guys who be like, nah, she would never want to date a scumbag like me again. You know, it's like,
yeah.
If it was 2 months ago, he's definitely not over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if he didn't want to break up with you, that's like, that sucks.
Yeah, it could take years for him to get over this. I don't know how close you guys were. I mean, if you dated for a year, you know, he's probably still pretty attached. So,
and 2 months is a long time for it to sink in, you know?
Yeah. I would say don't reach out, don't initiate contact. Like, I just would avoid it. And you're not being mean, you're not being rude, you're actually helping him out quite a bit. If he reaches out to you, don't be alarmed. This is not an emergency. Be kind, but do not
engage.
You can engage.
You can.
You have to treat him completely differently now. Not because there's anything wrong with him, but like you can't share things in the same way that you shared them before. You can't use emojis in your texts. Like
no, please
you
don't.
have to be
He will attach meaning.
Yeah, and you just don't want to give him anything that would make him think that you want to get back together at all. So just be cautious. That's all.
Yes.
Proceed with caution. Generally, is what I would say.
I agree.
What are we at here? All right, we got time for one more.
Okay.
I'll read it.
Cowboy question.
Cowboy question. Howdy, y'all. That's why you called it a cowboy question.
I just read the first two words.
Here's a question for Dr. Ethan.
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Ethan and Nurse Nevi. I am a woman in my mid-20s.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she did that on purpose.
Yeah. That's really funny.
Knowing who this is. I am a woman in my mid-20s. You can do nothing wrong. I'm really interested in going out with my guy friend. We've been friends for 6 years, share many of the same interests. About a year ago, I communicated to him that I was interested
we already
in
did
getting
this
to
one.
know him. Oh, really?
Demanding work schedule. He runs his own business.
Yeah.
We did.
We
The other one is just really long.
Okay, let's see if I can shorten it.
Yeah.
The Jewish question. Ethan.
What?
Ethan.
What did I do?
That's a dog whistle. You did a dog whistle on the podcast.
I didn't mean to, but it is a Jewish question. So you can't.
It is, but it's not the Jewish question. Not that there is a Jewish question.
I didn't mean it like anything other than just.
Why are there so many Jewish podcasters? I was at a festival. I was at a parish festival, and I was walking by one of our priests talking to a parishioner, and I walked by just in time to hear the parishioner say, and you just gotta wonder, like, why are there so many of them in media and like high business positions? And I was like, why is this happening?
So funny.
It's like, anyway, my sister got engaged to her boyfriend of 2 years. I wish I could be happy for her. I'm feeling confused and worried. Her fiance is nice. I struggle to find. Oh no, we did this one already too.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. She's usually.
I'm pretty
She doesn't
sure we
act
did
like
this.
her usual. My family and my best friend, who's like a sister to us, noticed that my actual sister doesn't act like her usual fun, silly self when she's around her boyfriend. She's quiet, falls in a line, is more reserved. He's Jewish. They insist that they raise any other future children Jewish, even though he doesn't practice his religion anymore. My sister has compromised and agreed to this. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm having a hard time feeling happy for her because it seems like my sister has given more than he has in the relationship, and I worry, and it makes me worry for their future marriage. As her older sister, I've voiced my concerns. You just switched.
Sorry, I twisted back. I'm sorry. I hit the scroll wheel on accident.
As her older sister, I voiced my concerns, but my sister says, we'll talk about it, we'll think about it, and that's it. Here's my question. Should I have a big talk with her about my concern? Should I also ask or talk with her new fiance and ask if he would be willing to raise the children both Jewish and Catholic? which I'm not sure is a
I don't
thing.
know how
It's
you
not.
could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one guy that ever did that, and he just happened to be God.
Yep. So should I take the high road and keep my mouth shut since they're now engaged? Thanks. Well, if she's... Oh, wait, hold on. Is she out of the faith now?
The sister's engaged.
Is she like...
I don't think there was a statement made about her faithfulness to Catholicism. It seems like that there's enough faith that the sister thinks that there's a chance that the kids can be raised Catholic, so it's not like she's completely out. But I don't think that it's like she's a practicing Catholic and she's with a practicing Jew and there's a question. I think that she's with a lapsed Catholic and maybe a lapsed Jew.
Catholic with a lapsed Jew. Yes.
Yeah. This is a great setup to a joke.
Yeah.
Here's what I think about this. So yeah, it says he doesn't practice his religion anymore.
Yeah.
So, but he wants to raise the kids Jewish. Man.
That sounds like he just wants to do the things.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
You can be
Wants
Jewish.
to get the... What's it called?
You can be culturally Jewish and also Catholic, I feel like. Am I wrong?
You cannot do the rites of Judaism.
Sure.
You can't, like, you get circumcised, but you can't, like, do, like, a ceremonial circumcision.
That's
or,
true,
like,
yeah.
celebrate Passover in a meaningful way. Or...
Which is kind of a bummer, because, like, imagine they go to Mass and celebrate Passover that way. How electric that would be. It'd be an electric factory. So, yeah, you can't really... But it's your sister. You know, it'd be different if, like, the woman herself was writing it. But it's your sister. So, something that we talk about a lot on the show is you can't... It's not your responsibility. Like, you are not in charge of other people's adherence to the Catholic faith. Especially when it comes to how they're marrying and how they're having kids and whether or not they're baptizing their kids. That's all in God's
You just can't
control.
do it, yeah.
It's just not your job. So, you voiced your concerns, and this is what I always say that I think people don't realize. It's like, your sister probably knows what you think about the whole thing. She probably has a good idea that you think that she should get married in the church and that she should raise her kids Catholic. She's marrying this guy, whether you like it or not. And so how she will interpret a big talk about the faith will be, she will interpret it as you disagreeing with her choice to marry this guy. Yeah. And that's like, because she's like, when you marry someone, it's like, this person is a part of me now. Like, so you attack the way that she's getting married, you're attacking the guy by extension, which means you're attacking her. And I just don't think it would go as well as you think it would. Probably. Yeah.
I think you're thinking of this in best case scenario.
Yeah.
And you need to, like, weigh the pros and cons.
You gotta be thinking worst case here.
What are the cons of you getting involved? Worst case scenario, you alienate your sister from your family and from the church.
Right.
Best case scenario, you end her relationship. Doesn't sound like a great scenario. Right. It doesn't sound like your sister's going to enjoy this conversation regardless of what happens. Yeah. And it's like, you're not going to convince her. I don't know. You could talk to her.
You could. I don't know what your relationship is. You have to use prudence, because we might not know the whole story, but...
Are you the kind of older sister where she listens to everything you say and she really trusts you? Or are you the kind of older sister...
deep relationship? Yeah. Are you like Lorelai and Rory from Gilmore Girls?
Are you the kind of older brother and younger sister that are most older siblings and younger siblings, where if you tell them to do something, it's going to go over like a ton of bricks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lead balloon. Sorry, I said the wrong thing.
Lead balloon,
the wrong
ton of
bag.
Bricks, whatever it is.
It's going to go over like a Led Zeppelin.
There is analyze your motivations. Because a lot of times we want to fix these things. We get a lot of questions like this where people are like, I have a person in my life who is doing this.
What do I do?
Are you trying to fix this so that you don't have any dissonance in your life? Or are you fixing this because you are like super concerned about this person's immortal soul?
Yeah.
Now, I don't doubt that you care about this person's immortal soul, but a lot of times when people are asking these questions, it's because I don't know how to love someone who's not in my religion. You know, like that's really the question. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do if this person who's supposed to be Catholic all of a sudden is not Catholic. And like, how am I going to love them? How am I going to interact with them? They're going to be different from me. And that's like scary, but it's actually not the end of the world, you know? Like it's not, you have to trust that God is in control and not you. And I think a lot of times, I'm not saying you're doing this, but a lot of times when people are having these thoughts, having these feelings, and they're like, oh, this would be the end of, like a lot of the parents is like, oh, my kids aren't Catholic, or my grandkids aren't Catholic. It's like, well, have you entrusted them to the Lord Jesus Christ? Or do you think that it's your responsibility to make them Catholic and keep them Catholic?
Hard.
It's just like a tough thing, you know? So that just would be my thought is, trust that God is in control and that they have a long life ahead of them. They're getting married probably young, probably 20s, 30s. Like they got 60 years for God to do something. And even then, he might do more later after, you know, the old, so who's to say, right? His mercy is infinite. So I don't know, man.
I'm all podcasted out for the day.
Aw, Patrick's tired.
I would tell you.
He's
Patrick's tired. And
He's a sweepy Steve.
has to do his real job. So.
Yeah, so does Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta go to patreon.com/thecrunch so that Patrick stops signaling to me unceremoniously that he's done podcasting so that we can podcast all the time together.
I would want nothing more than to podcast all the time with my pal Ethan. Fortunately.
Patreon.com/thecrunch is where you can go if you want to support us, and you can listen to our third episode that we upload every single week. We do 3 episodes a week. The third one always goes out on Patreon for the people who support us, $10 a month and up. That's where you should go if you like what we're doing and you want to hear more. Thank you for listening to this episode and this podcast.
Thank you all for listening.
Wait, you got to ask me if I have anything else for the people.
Ethan, do you have anything else for the people?
I think that James Cameron could have saved the Titanic. And I also think that if you just give the reins over, the ship wheel over to James Cameron, the James Cameron if you give it over to Jesus, he can save the relationship like how James Cameron could save the Titanic. Amen.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We will be praying for you, and we will see you all next time.